Welcome to the Stormy Willow podcast, where we explore the paranormal, celebrate the odd, and never trust the living. I'm your host, Sarah. Hello, Queen.
And I'm your host, Adele. Too emo to engage.
What's happening, Adele?
Just a lot in the month of June, as always.
Yeah, June's a busy month, a fun month.
It's a busy one. A lot of
Yes.
birthdays. We have Juneteenth. We have Father's Day. We have your birthday.
I'm so lucky because I feel like Pride has definitely upped my birthday game. Like, it
Yeah.
really, Steven loves it. He's like, I really don't have to plan anything. I just take you to Pride and it's all done for me.
That's true.
I have a crazy story for you guys, a bigger news story. And Adele, you're gonna love this one because it's from the Herald.
No, wow. I thought of the Herald in a minute.
And it happened here in York, South Carolina. All right. So, York, South Carolina, and what can only be described as the world's saddest bachelor party that wasn't. A police lieutenant and the city's utilities director have been exposed for hurling eggs at cars and heckling pedestrians in downtown York on Thursday night.
I mean, what else are you supposed to do there? To
That's what they said. So that's right. Lieutenant Timothy Dover, 39, and Benny the Breaker, Wright, 51, were
Okay,
allegedly.
wait. Do we know? Is that what they actually called him? I hope so. I hope
No,
they're
I'm
not
just, I'm
brand.
just being funny.
Oh, okay. I was hoping that was actually like in a report somewhere.
I,
That's like
I
hilarious.
I would like to also say TM if that does get reused. I mean, it's like Benny the Jet Rodriguez. He's gonna now be known as Benny the Breaker.
Benny the Breaker. Okay. Anyway,
So,
continue.
again, we're talking about 39 and 51 were allegedly caught channeling their inner frat boys, not in a Netflix comedy, but in the city with a population smaller than a Walmart, which is true. Like they do have a Walmart, which is like pretty big, but so witnesses say the off-duty duo were causing damage, name calling and cat calling from a window on Congress Street, which is like one of the two main roads in the little downtown. So, one tow truck driver claimed a $600 in damage to his vehicle, and I don't know, guys. Like with the price of eggs, like I want to know, like, were you throwing cage-free organic? Did you get them off the farm? Like, I feel like that's kind of wasteful right now in this economy.
They're probably like, no, they're sea turtle eggs from Myrtle Beach.
So the York County Sheriff's Office got a call, and since, of course, Lieutenant Dover technically works for this department, and so like they're literally getting a call about this guy that worked for the department. Both men were charged with breach of peace, and they had been placed on administrative leave while their hometown plays the world's slowest game of "Are you serious right now?" So York Police and City Hall aren't saying much, probably because it's hard to spin Egggate into a positive. But Dover has 15 plus years on the force and no word on Wright's tenure, but something tells us it's been scrambled.
Oh, you certainly don't walk on eggshells.
Certainly don't. So this is exceptionally dumb, and it's made headlines here. So when I saw this one, I knew immediately. It's like all over the Facebook, all over. So I had to share with you
All over the Facebook.
all over the Facebook, the Book of Faces. You ready for your week ahead?
Oh God. Are we? Is it gonna? Are there eggs in the forecast? Broken eggs.
I mean, it's not going to be exceptional, but it's not terrible.
Same old kind of dreary bullshit. Sure.
Oh, bullshit. Let's start with Monday, our favorite day of the week, where we're going to have some sensitive, snappy, and soaked in feelings. So we've got, you know who's up to this. You know. Mercury.
I was literally about to say Monday is the Mercury of days.
It is. Well, it's up to it again. Mercury is square Saturn, Neptune, and it's gonna have us kind of like weird communication, emotional vibes, drama, just kind of like,
Okay, so I'm gonna take a tranquilizer that day.
yeah, yeah,
Gotcha.
yes, yes. But Jupiter's going to move into Cancer, so that's big. And so it's going to kick off a year of emotional growth, home nesting, and chosen family healing. So that's very Cancer-like.
Okay.
And Adele, we know how much you love a home nest. So,
I do. That's
so I
great.
mean, there's that. So there you go.
What I always
So
wanted to go home.
yeah, because you're like, yes, it's gonna be okay. So you can expect to feel mentally foggy, maybe emotionally intense. Caution for you, high snark risk. So if you're a snarky gal or guy, just kind of
Uh-oh, I'm in
down a little
trouble.
bit. Yeah, just maybe dial it down a little bit. All right, Tuesday, June the 10th. Cry it out or punch a pillow.
Oh, this is already sounding so shitty.
So, I mean, there's a healing in motion today. Mars is going to give you the guts. And you remember, what's this, Chiron? Remember Chiron? It's
Chiron. Yeah.
Chiron. Thank you, Chiron. Chiron is,
Chiron.
is going to say, go ahead, fix that wound, whether it's therapy, an apology, or some shadow work. It's kind of that vibe for those hard conversations. Like maybe you were too snarky on Monday, so you got to come back on Tuesday and be like, man, sorry.
Okay. I'm just not gonna be funny on Monday.
Yeah, just, you're like, oh no, I shouldn't say that.
I shouldn't make that joke.
Physical movement's going to help you on Tuesdays. Maybe go for a walk, go for a run, go for something. And then you're going to have this emotional courage that's going to be unlocked. So maybe it's some time to kind of, you know, say what you need to say. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And then
Great.
Wednesday, June the 11th, we have a full moon freak out.
I'm just gonna turn into a werewolf and call it a
Call it a day.
millennium.
So you can expect restlessness, big reveals, and dramatic truth bombs. So Sag warns answers, freedom, and possibly, hey, let's move to Costa Rica. Kind of
Okay, sure.
vibe.
That sounds a little fun.
But be careful with blurting feelings or, I don't know, quitting your job on impulse.
Why did it say that?
So you can expect wild dreams, sudden truths. You can expect wanderlust spikes, but you're gonna need to trust your gut. Proofread those texts, and just know, like, this is a great dream, but let me think on it before you just buy yourself a little plane ticket and peace on out without a without any further thought.
Let's start already changing my plans.
And then Thursday, you're gonna have an emotional hangover. No major transits, but the full moon is still going to have you questioning your life, your texts, or whether that tattoo was a good idea. In which it always is a good idea.
Yeah.
Oh, tattoos are always good ideas. You can expect to feel moody today, sensitive to tone, and just maybe watch out for those overthinking spirals.
See, this feels like my entire last week. So what the fuck is this week gonna be like? Just my question.
And then
Thanks.
we got a Friday the 13th this week, too.
That's a lucky
So
day.
I always love a Friday the 13th.
I like a Friday the 13th.
I do too. So Friday the 13th, lucky or just loud? So
Mm.
this is your karmic pop quiz. Are you clinging to comfort or stepping into growth? You'll feel it in the little choices, what you say yes to, and what you finally stop doing. So you can expect some deja vu vibes, which I love for a Friday the 13th. Some crossroads energy, and watch who or what reappears in your life.
The fuck? Okay. Okay.
And if, Finally, the weekend, Saturday, June 14th, you've got a recharge required. No big transits, but this is your catch your breath day. Ground yourself, journal it out, or binge your favorite TV show with no guilt. So you're going to kind of maybe feel that low energy. You might want to reflect, you may not, but just don't overschedule your Saturday. Like, just take it as a lazy day and chill out. And then finally, Sunday, June the 15th, we have soft landings and soul snacks. The week ends with tenderness. Let yourself feel things without labeling them. Creative flow is strong, emotions are squishy, and your inner child might want a popsicle. So, kind of maybe feel that healing vibe. You might be imaginative and just accept what is, whether it's, just whatever makes you happy that day. So yeah, I mean, it's not a great. I mean, it's like me.
It's
I
very
feel like that's
meh.
how me is how I've summed up like the last decade, really. So I don't
Yeah.
think this week is really any different, guys. I'm sorry. Don't talk to me about it. Talk to the stars.
Well, meh.
Well, back to you. Hey, maybe that's what those guys were doing. They're like, we want to feel alive. Like last time we felt alive is when we were egging cars.
Right? Let's just feel fucking alive. Let's go
Maybe
egg some
that's
shit.
maybe that's just what they wanted. They're like, I'm just sick of feeling me.
It's
Like,
like the tea party, right? The tea was too expensive. We threw that shit into the harbor. We're gonna start
yeah,
egging Teslas.
they wanted to break free.
Oh, there you go. All right. Well, speaking of breaking free, I have a fantastic topic today.
Oh yeah. Now you, if I remember correctly, had presenter's choice.
I did. And I've been sitting on this topic for a while because I think it hits so many of the topics that we already cover within one topic.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So without further ado, the Dybbuk box has become one of the most infamous cursed objects in modern paranormal history. But let's
Oh, heck.
start with basics. What is a Dybbuk? All right, so I don't know if you're a millennial, you probably heard of the Dybbuk box. It was kind of like a big internet thing in the early 2000s.
Yeah, I feel so old because I remember that. And it's like, whoa.
Yeah, like ooh, eBay keeps selling this haunted like Dybbuk box thing, but it's crazy what happened to all of the previous owners. So
Oh,
we're gonna dig
okay.
into this.
All right.
All right, so what is a Dybbuk? Well, a Dybbuk in traditional Jewish folklore is believed to be the dislocated soul of a dead person. It latches onto the living, sometimes out of vengeance, sometimes desperation. Unlike ghosts that haunt locations or demons that embody evil, a Dybbuk is human, but it's tormented and stuck between realms. And once it finds a host, it does not like to let go.
So this seems a little more scary than the Ouija board.
A little bit.
Because
Yeah.
there's always like, don't play with the witch boards, don't do it. And I
I
don't know, like I'm starting to think maybe the witch board's not the worst.
you just wait. It gets crazy.
Oh, snap.
All right. So, how did this idea evolve into an actual object, right? We haven't mentioned anything about a box yet. It's just, this human spirit that is a Dybbuk.
I'll start calling people that.
Well,
Dybbuk.
it was born in 2001
What?
at an estate sale in Portland, Oregon.
Oh no.
Yes. So the man who bought it was Kevin Mannis, an antique dealer and part-time writer. According to his account, the sale was from the estate of a 103-year-old woman named Havilah. Sorry, named Havilah, a Holocaust survivor. Manus struck up a conversation with her granddaughter, who mentioned that the small wine cabinet, so that's what this box actually is, was not to be opened. She said her grandmother referred to it as her Dybbuk box. and claimed it was used in an attempt to trap a malevolent entity using a ritual that she and other women performed in Spain before fleeing Europe during World War II.
Oh shit.
So yeah, this box is kind of loaded, okay? Like, meh. Okay, so Kevin, he was the owner of this box from 2001 to 2003. So Portland, Oregon, autumn 2001. So Kevin, he was the kind of guy who collected stories as much as he collected antiques. He ran a small shop downtown. It was a cozy, cluttered space filled with old records, creaking furniture, and the occasional whisper of incense in the air.
That sounds like
So,
my house. Like 100% my vibe, Kevin.
yeah, it sounds
Yes.
like a cool shop, right? Of just like odd, cool antiques.
Yeah, I love it.
He was sharp, articulate, a little dramatic, more poet than a businessman.
I love
Uh,
that.
yeah, so the kind of person who could romanticize a rusted hinge. So he was just really into all of his objects and the stories behind them. And when he attended an estate sale that September, he wasn't looking for trouble, he was looking for character. And what he found instead was a box. Uh, so, as I mentioned, the family of Havilah, a 103-year-old Holocaust survivor, was selling off her belongings. There were there was like a reverence, in the air, of course, in such an event. Um, there was old world furniture, hand stitched linens, and tucked in the corner of her sewing room, a small wooden cabinet with a brass latch. Kevin noticed it immediately. It looked hand carved, unusual. He was drawn to it.
Yes.
The granddaughter noticed his interest and warned him plainly, quote, "My grandmother called it a Dybbuk box. She said it should never be open." But that's the kind of thing you say after someone buys something, not before, right? So it's almost like she
Right.
doesn't want to,
It's
like,
like
him
she
to
was like
purchase.
warning him, like, I don't really know that I should even make this transaction. Like,
Yeah, so Kevin
I
smiled, shrugged it
even
off.
order towels.
Yeah, like, oh, that's her Dybbuk box that should never be opened before you've even, expressed interest. But yeah, of course, Kevin smiled and shrugged it off and added it to his lot of stuff he was
I
purchasing.
would have done it too, Kevin. I would have done it too.
Right? And then back at his shop, Kevin did exactly what every
Yep.
horror movie tells you not to do. He opened the box. And inside, he found items that look ritualistic, maybe even sacred. So there were two locks of hair, one
Oh,
blonde, one dark, and they were tied with twine, like a single dried rosebud, black and fragile. So it's already just kind of weird. Personally to me, anytime you have hair, like lockets of hair, I think it's creepy.
yeah.
There was also a candlestick, a small granite statue engraved with the word shalom, and a golden goblet tarnished with, like, at its rim. So, it looked aged. And that night, things began. Like, already. Just
Already.
opening it
Already.
out of the gate. So the first sign was the smell.
Oh no.
A
Sulfur.
No, close. A foul blend of cat urine and jasmine.
Cat urine.
I don't know. Like what?
That's so funny.
To me, that I imagine that would smell like a cat box that someone's spraying like fragrance over to
Like
try to cover.
urine and jasmine.
Jasmine.
That's so random. Okay.
Yeah. So it was a foul blend of cat urine and jasmine bleeding into the air like rot in bloom. Ooh.
Rot and bloom. Can that please be a perfume? TM. Rot
Rot
and
and
bloom.
bloom.
What do you smell of? Oh, my fragrance is rotten bloom.
Rotten bloom. Mm.
It's
I mean,
happy and
I
a
hit the
little
jasmine.
bit of jasmine.
Somebody would buy it. Let's put it on eBay.
Let's put it on eBay.
All right, and then came the flickering lights, of course. Light bulbs popping like firecrackers. Customers started avoiding
Focus.
right? Like customers started avoiding the back of the store. Like
Oh.
it's even happening with customers around. And Kevin chalked it up to nerves, faulty wiring, or just weird Portland weather, because they do have extreme weather up there.
Portland weather.
Yeah.
That's that smell.
Or maybe just weird Portland is what I'm gonna
No,
go.
like it's fine. I don't
It's
know.
just Portland.
It's this wiring that's never done this until I brought this box home, but it's not the box.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm kind of with Kevin so far with I think I would probably dismiss these things. It's just like, whatever.
It's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, and he
You
did
definitely would. I
until
would not.
you would not.
No, but you would. You'd be like, no.
Yeah, that's true. I'd be like, no, this is stupid. We're gonna keep this box. But yeah, he was pretty dismissive until the dreams started. So every night he was in a dark room, he couldn't move, and she was there, the hag. So he started having hag visitations. If you don't know the hag, we've covered her before, but a lot of people who have night terrors, they usually have a vision of this old woman. A lot of times they say she sits on their chest. A lot of people believe it's just, a symptom of your brain trying to wake up, and you have this nightmare of a hag. Or is she real? Some people think it's a real entity as well, and that's what he thinks was visiting him. She was pale, sunken cheeks, hollow eyes, hands like twisted roots. She climbed on his chest and whispered in a language he didn't understand. He woke
He
up
said, what do you
gasping.
say? I don't understand.
Right?
Like what?
Like, like a clue you can't figure out. But
Like,
yeah,
no,
he
let me
would
get
wake
my
up
phone. Let
gasping.
me get my interpreter.
Alexa, what did you
Alexa, what is the
translate? But yeah, he would wake up gasping, drenched in sweat every single night after getting this box.
and if you're a woman, that's what they would call perimenopause.
Right? Or sleep apnea is what
Yeah.
I imagine this is. Um, and still, he's still not convinced that he's in danger. Because there again, maybe he is like, oh, it's probably sleep apnea. Maybe,
Yeah.
I'm under
Like,
a
yeah,
lot of
yeah,
stress.
I've been smelling. It's just, it's fine. It's best with my sinuses.
Yeah, yeah. So he can still explain it away. Um, and then Kevin thought maybe he would just get rid of it. Maybe this box is just causing too much trouble.
Maybe. Maybe Kevin.
So, do you know what he did? He decided to give it as a gift,
Oh
as a
no.
birthday gift to his mom.
Kevin. That's some Kevin McAllister shit right there.
Right? Like, what the fuck, Kevin?
You know what? I don't think it's a box, but it might be. So I'm just gonna give this
Happy
happy
birthday.
birthday, Mom.
Here's this cursed Dybbuk box. Happy birthday, Mom. That afternoon, she opened it, and by evening, she had suffered a massive stroke. Like, within a few hours of getting this box. And she lost the ability to speak from this stroke.
I don't want to have kids right here. This is what you get your mom.
Oh, and just wait. The only thing she could manage was two words over and over again: no box. That's all she could say. So Kevin retrieved the cabinet from her home and placed it in his shop's basement, and almost instantly the activity intensified. So glass shattered, unseen hands slammed doors. He saw shadows move behind him in mirrors, tall, humanoid, and twitching, like very creepy. And the smell, sweet rot, animal musk, old perfume. Animal musk is the second one, and sweet rot is breathing a
Yes.
lot of
Animal.
fragrances.
What are you wearing? Animal musk.
I'm wearing sweet rot. But yeah, so like these smells just started like seeping into the walls, and he tried everything: salt, sage, prayers. Nothing worked. And then finally, in June 2003, he listed it on eBay. And it's now like a really famous title called Haunted Jewish Wine Cabinet slash Dybbuk Box.
Yes, I know. I'm familiar with this now that it's been. I have forgotten about that.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of the era when the Blair Witch Project had just come out, probably a few years before that. The internet's just now becoming like in everybody's households for the most part. Still, a lot of people don't have it. So I love the urban legends that came about as the internet really started coming online and getting into people's homes. And this is one of the best original stories like that.
Yeah. Oh my
But
gosh.
yeah, so finally in June 2003, he listed it on eBay under that infamous title. And in the listing, he wrote, quote, I want to make it clear that I will not be held responsible for what happens to anyone who buys this box. And he wasn't looking to profit, he was looking to escape. But even years later, Kevin would admit, quote, sometimes I still see her. Even though I don't have the box anymore, she remembers me.
Oh
Like,
my
ew. So this thing really latches onto you. And even once you get rid of the box, there still might be some
God.
stuff
Get rid
there.
of it. You never really get rid of it.
Give it to your mom.
It makes an excellent Mother's Day present.
Father's Day is right around the corner.
Fathers, but the thing is, our dad would love it. Oh my
You'd be like,
God.
yeah, I talked to that Dybbuk. She ain't bad. No, she's just misunderstood. Mm-mm.
Dad, that's what you're getting for Father's Day. I don't know what you're talking about. So I put my sunscreen in it. It's fine.
So, okay. So Kevin was the first owner post, I guess the original owner, we're assuming is the old lady from the estate sale, right?
Yeah.
And then, of course, next we have Yosef Nitsky in 2003. He's the medical student, and he ended up not being able to cry after he owned this box. We'll get into the details of that. All right, so this was 2003. He was in Kirksville, Missouri, and he owned this for maybe a month. So in the summer of 2003, the Dybbuk Box left Portland, but it didn't go far from the realm of inquiry. It went straight into the hands of someone who believed he could understand it, break it down, explain it, or fix it. So Yosef Nitsky was a second-year med student at Truman State University in Missouri. Clean cut, brilliant, ambitious. So obviously he's not a dumb guy. He went to
Yeah.
med school for crying out loud. And he was raised in a secular Russian household that prized reason over ritual. So he's not superstitious or religious.
Right.
Doesn't believe in any of that hocus pocus. Famous last words, right? So,
Bunch of hocus pocus.
yeah. So ghost stories weren't real to him. They were neurological
Hmm.
misfires, usually
Okay.
caused by sleep deprivation, stress, or poor diet. Is kind of what he thinks.
Gotcha. Very medical.
He believed the Dybbuk Box legend was nothing more than mass hysteria wrapped in eBay theater. And when he saw Kevin Mannis's post, this bizarre auction listing, he was hooked, but not with fear, with curiosity.
Sure.
And he bid $140 and won. So he thought he was buying a myth that he could dismantle. So the box arrived in early June 2003. It was wrapped tightly in newspaper and sealed in a thick cardboard shell. He opened it on the small dining table in his off campus apartment. His roommate Danny joked that it looked like something that should contain a shrunken head, so the roommate thought it was kind of creepy. Yosef laughed too. They were kind of joking about it, and the laugh did not last long. So, day one, Yosef placed the box on the shelf above his workspace. Within hours, his nose began to itch. He chalked it up to dust, but the itching turned into a deep, burning rash that spread down his jawline and onto his chest. That night, the apartment filled with a sickly sweet odor, a mix of mold, honeysuckle, and something animal. There again.
There it goes again.
Danny amused something died in the walls. That's so funny, Danny. All right, so then day three, right? This is happening super fast. Can you
I mean, they
imagine?
just opened it like a couple hours ago.
Like, he just got this thing. Oh, man. All right, so day three, the box opened on its own.
Oh,
Yosef swore he had closed it the night before. He found the door slightly ajar, the interior items, especially the hair bundles, seemingly rearranged.
hair bundles.
Ugh. He began keeping a journal. His first entry, quote, "This thing is odd. I swear it wasn't like this yesterday." He wrote it off as forgetfulness, sleep deprivation, finals week, the stress of being a student,
Yeah.
until the hallucinations started.
Oh no.
So now we're at day 5. While brushing his teeth, he glanced in the mirror and saw someone else behind him. A woman. Matted hair, blood at the corners of her mouth, and empty eyes. She
Ugh.
stood perfectly still, no expression, no movement, just staring back at him through the steam. He turned around and there was nothing there. So she wasn't physically behind him. She was only in the reflection. And when he looked again, the mirror was fogged over. He wiped it clean, the reflection returned, and it was just himself, but now his nose was bleeding. Like, that's day 5. Day 9, Yosef's body began to shut down. His
Oh
hair
no.
fell out in clumps.
What?
His hands trembled uncontrollably, but the most unnerving symptom, he couldn't cry. He wasn't able to cry anymore. Uh, Not when he was in pain, not when he was afraid, not even when he tested himself, like cutting open an onion. Like, he couldn't
I
cry.
guess his nuts were
His
like
tear ducts
blocked.
just stopped working. So anything he would try to do to provoke tears, like, it just would not happen. How freaking weird.
That's
And
so I've not heard that as a reaction to something before.
right, and the rash, like this, all of this, I don't know. I'm thinking early 2000s. People probably thought it was anthrax.
Oh yeah, I forgot about anthrax.
Like, it would be really scary though around that time.
That
Like,
would be, you're right.
he emailed a former professor and wrote, quote, "I've lost the ability to cry. It sounds dramatic, but it's real. The ducts aren't blocked. They're just off, like something shut them down." He started skipping class, stopped shaving. His roommate said he muttered in his sleep in Russian, a language Yosef hadn't spoken since childhood. And then the final days of owning the box, Danny, the roommate, came home one night and found Yosef kneeling in front of the open box. It was 3:12 a.m. Yosef wasn't praying, he wasn't crying, he was just staring into the open box, whispering over and over and over again, "Tell me what you want." And within a week, the box was back on eBay.
Back on eBay it goes.
Yeah, so his listing was terse, void of theatrical flair, unlike Manus, just clinical and bullet points. It said hair loss, alacrima, tear duct failure is what that is.
Okay.
Auditory hallucinations, visual distortions, insomnia, inability to focus. He ended with, "I don't want it anymore. Please take it."
Someone saw that and like, oh my gosh, my friend's birthday is this week. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. He's just like, "It's free, take it." So he didn't even talk about like the legend or the backstory, just this thing's dangerous, pretty much.
Oh my
And
God.
then Yosef withdrew from the final semester. He was never heard from again in the context of the Dybbuk Box. To this day, his medical records, those that survive, list idiopathic complications and psychosomatic trauma as unresolved diagnoses. But those of us who track these stories know what really happened. He didn't just witness the curse, he became a part of it.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
Yeah, so then 2003 to 2016, this person lasted a long time owning it. Jason Haxton,
Okay.
the scholar who tried to bind the box. So this guy's already into this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
He
Like,
was
I know what needs to happen here. I got it.
he's like, "I want to give it. I'm gonna try to cure this box."
Yeah.
So yeah, he owned this for a while from 2003 to 2016. So after Kevin Mannis and Yosef Nitsky, the Dybbuk Box had already made its way through trauma, skepticism, and suffering, but it wasn't finished. In late 2003, the box arrived in the home of Jason Haxton, a quiet, disciplined man who didn't frighten very easily, obviously.
Yeah.
He was the director of the Museum of Osteopathic Medicine at A.T. Still University, and a man of facts, not lore. He was academic, reserved, not the kind of guy to panic over hair loss or a bad dream.
Okay.
But he was fascinated. He had been following the online thread of owners, watching their descent into chaos. He didn't buy the box on impulse, he bought it with intent. Quote, I wanted to study it, document it, figure out what was real and what was just fear. He thought he'd beat the curse with logic. He thought wrong. So, the box arrives conveniently in October.
Happy Halloween!
The box was hand-delivered in a plain crate. Jason unboxed it in his study, surrounded by dusty skeleton replicas, 19th century medical tools, and yeah, right. He has like a cool, like, I don't know, oddities kind of library, it sounds like. And manuscripts on early American healing practices. He opened it once briefly, nothing happened. Quote, I remember thinking that's it. No screams, no shadows, just silence. He closed it and placed it on a shelf. That night, he woke up choking. All right, so week 1, Jason began experiencing severe respiratory problems. His throat felt raw, his lungs burned. It's probably all that cat urine.
Yeah.
His lungs burned. He'd wake up in the middle of the night gasping as though something heavy was sitting on his chest. He coughed up blood twice in the first 10 days of owning this box. He was a specialist. He saw a specialist. There were no infections, no irritation, and no explanation for what's causing all these respiratory problems he's suddenly experiencing. Quote, I couldn't breathe. I couldn't sleep. I was starting to panic, quietly, of course. I'm not the type to say it's a ghost, but I was losing control of my body. Right? That's creepy.
Yeah, it is.
And then came the electromagnetic anomalies.
Oh no.
His television turned on at full volume at 3:33 a.m. The microwave shorted out. The thermostat reset itself to 66.6 degrees Fahrenheit. Even his refrigerator motor seized up. And when the repair tech opened the back panel, they found ash packed inside the coils.
What? How?
That's creepy as shit to me. And then week 2, we're only at week 2. Jason's dreams become really twisted. So he described being in a desert under black skies, where an emaciated woman with no mouth screamed into his head without sound. She pointed at the box. Her hands were backwards. He woke up with burns on his back, like red, symmetrical, like fingerprints pressed too hard onto his skin. Like, that's pretty creepy. He stopped sleeping, stopped trusting mirrors. He started seeing small figures darting across the floor of his home and his peripheral vision. Too fast, too small, and too intelligent. And then the binding attempt. So Jason, now convinced that the box was actually dangerous, reached out to a friend who practiced Kabbalistic spiritual protection rituals. And together they performed a containment binding, sealing the Dybbuk box inside a handcrafted wood ark lined with gold leaf, surrounded by salt, sage, and iron filling. So, I mean, they're really, really binding the hell out of this box. They stored the sealed box in an underground vault beneath the museum. For months, things went quiet.
Okay.
But Jason said it was never gone. It was like holding a sleeping pit viper in your hands.
Oh.
Still, but it's still, but it's not safe. Like, it could wake up anytime. And then the final straw, in 2016, after 13 years, Jason began suffering a new wave of health problems: blurred vision, short-term memory loss, pounding migraines, the return of the dreams. Only now the woman in them is smiling, so she does have a mouth, and now she's smiling.
Oh.
And that same year, he got a call from someone who wanted the box.
Zach
Who would
Bagans.
fucking want this box?
Zach. Knew it.
It was Zach Bagans.
I knew it.
And Jason initially said no. But the museum was shifting and he was tired, so more than tired, he was withered. He retrieved the sealed box from its vault. He did not open it and handed it over to Zach Bagans on the condition that it would be protected. So Jason later said in a radio interview, quote, "If that box is what I believe it is, then it's not haunted. It's hostile." So I don't know. So where's Jason now? Well, he's still alive.
That's good.
He's still cautious, and he's gone back to quieter things, archival research, museum talks, but he refuses to speak publicly about the box anymore. And when asked whether he regrets touching it, he simply said, "I didn't touch it. It touched me."
I knew it. I knew that's what he was going to say.
What did you? I didn't touch it. It touched me.
I didn't touch it. It touched me.
Okay. Speaking of cheese balls, so Zach Bagans is the present owner since 2016.
I'm glad they found its way to a responsible person.
Right. Yeah, so it is now in Las Vegas, Nevada, in his haunted museum. And let's just talk a little bit about good old Zach Bagans and his experiences. So by 2016, the Dybbuk Box had become legend. Like, everybody's heard of it. I think I was first exposed to it by watching like one of those early 2000s like Discovery Channel like cheesy reenactment kind of shows.
Yes, they're the best.
Yeah, so this thing is super famous by this point. And of course, Zach has his hands on it. Yeah, this thing's being discussed in forums. Paranormal YouTubers are speculating about like what it could be. And Reddit threads went dark. And that's when Zach Bagans, host of Ghost Adventures, if you didn't know, and curator of the Las Vegas Haunted Museum, stepped in. And Zach obviously does not shy away from danger. His career actually thrives on it. But this wasn't another...
His middle name? Is his middle name Travis?
Probably.
He's not a Zach. He's a Travis.
Ooh, yeah, he's a Travis. He's a true Travis.
Oh no! Like, did his mom think about naming him Travis? Was that on the list? Because I feel like he's Travis Bagans.
Maybe it was like a maybe, and then they were like
between Zach or Travis. I like them both.
Oh, he has that cousin Travis though, so we'll call him Zach. That's probably what happened. But yeah, so I mean, this was kind of a unique item in his museum. It wasn't just like a curse type thing. It was something that seems way more ancient than that. And it was personal and active, right? So he acquired the box directly from Jason Haxton, who unsealed it, like we said, from its gold-lined tomb and warned Zach, "You don't want this in your house. You want it somewhere it can't spread." Zach grinned. He'd heard that before. Alright, so then he put it in his museum. So Zach had a custom display vault built, a thick glass case surrounded by protective sigils, sealed under strict environmental control. He called it the world's most haunted object. I mean, and this is a guy, I guess, that has encountered a lot of haunted objects, so...
Yeah.
That's kind of a big deal. And even the museum's staff refused to enter the exhibit room alone. Several left permanently. Quote, "There's something in there," one staff member whispered. "You don't need to believe in curses to feel it. It watches." And then let's see what some of the visitors have experienced.
Yeah.
So, almost immediately, museum goers began reporting strange physical reactions to being like just in the same room as this box. Fainting spells. Some people have passed out seeing it.
Bleeding me.
Sudden nosebleeds.
That's so weird.
Sharp chest pains, especially
Oh no.
people with no heart conditions. So it's not like people you would expect. And one woman collapsed in front of the case and had to be taken to the ER with an unexplained seizure. I don't know. Visitors claimed they heard scratching from inside the box, even though it hadn't been opened. And some said they felt a cold breath on their neck. A few said they left with scratches down their backs, straight through their clothes.
Oh.
I guess it didn't scratch their, I don't know. It only scratched like under their clothes. I guess what they're saying. And Zach once joked, we may need to start waivers. And he wasn't joking after the part. So, you know, what a great item to celebrate Halloween, right? So he was gonna make a special Halloween episode around this box. So October 30th, 2018, it was supposed to be kind of a stunt. So the Travel Channel Ghost Adventures Halloween special, one night, one ritual, one box was what this was kind of marketed as. Zach was joined by a team of mediums, rabbis, and historians. And tensions were, of course, high, but that's not saying much because it's Zach. Tensions are always high with him. And they gathered around the case, dim lighting and candles casting shadows on the walls, so they made it super spooky. And when Zach opened the box, he staggered back. His voice cracked. He clutched his chest. He said the air changed instantly, pressurized, vibrating, like being underwater. He later claimed to have seen a shadow form inside the box. Something with a crooked face and many hands. The segment ended early. Zach didn't finish the ritual.
Wow, that's saying a lot.
That's not like him to cut out, though, early on rituals.
That's not like that to cut out. Yeah, like the guy lost his vision, for goodness sakes.
Yeah.
I mean, like, he usually sees things, he sees things through, and you're like, Zach, stop.
Yeah, like.
That is saying a lot.
That's saying a lot for him to back out of that. And in a post-show interview, he said, there was something in there, and it didn't want to be seen. I felt it right here, and he tapped his chest. It's the first time in my life I've felt fear I couldn't explain away. Okay. I'm just gonna leave that. And he hasn't opened it again since. But opening it even once may have been enough to let something slip out. Something that didn't wait to be invited. Something that followed the nearest open door. And that door was Post Malone. Oh my god, this fucking box. Alright, so in 2018...
Like, maybe this whole Trump administration and the pandemic, I'm gonna blame this situation right here. Right here.
You remember that movie Fallen with Denzel Washington?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
And John Goodman. And it, like, the thing travels through touch. It's like that kind of thing. It's creepy.
It is.
All right. So, I mean, this was 2018, so fairly recent, you know?
Yeah.
So the untouched, but not unscathed. So this is pretty odd. So in 2018, Post Malone finally entered the picture. The Dybbuk Box had already made headlines, but it hadn't crossed into pop culture infamy yet. That changed in August 2018 when Post visited Zach Bagans' Haunted Museum while he was on tour. He was riding high at the time, multiple chart-topping hits, sold-out arenas, millions of fans. His energy was classic Post. He was super chill, curious, a little stoned, very amused. You know how he is. And until they entered the vault, you know, that was kind of his normal vibe.
Yeah.
All right, so Zach had invited Post to a private walkthrough of the museum. It was late. The air inside the Dybbuk Box room was unusually stagnant, like an old cellar or a long unopened tomb. Zach, against earlier claims, Sorry, Zach against earlier claims that he had never opened the box again, but did it anyway. So he said he
Oh,
wouldn't, but he does for post. So he touched the lid, felt the pressure return, and as he stood there, frozen, something shifted in the room. Post, standing beside him, reached out. He put a hand on Zach's shoulder, and that was all it took. He didn't touch the box, but he just touched someone who was touching the box. So Zach would later recall, quote, the moment Post touched me, I felt this cold, like static moving under my skin. His face changed. I knew something transferred. And then they joked about it on the way out, laughing in the parking lot and shrugging it off. But over the next 6 weeks, Post World nearly came crashing down. So, incident one, this is August 21st, 2018, so same month.
yeah.
He had a private jet emergency landing. So 2 days after the museum visit, So 2 days after the museum visit, Post jet was flying out of New Jersey when both tires blew out during takeoff. The pilot circled for over 4 hours to burn fuel before making a terrifying emergency landing. And emergency vehicles aligned the tarmacs. Fans feared the worst. Quote, we were all texting our goodbyes. One crew member later said, everyone thought we were going to die. 2 days after the meeting. Okay.
The Post had to go see this Dybbuk Box. Here we are.
All right, so incident two. This is September 7th, 2018. So just a few weeks later, a serious car accident. So Post was riding in his white Rolls Royce when it was T-boned in West Hollywood. The car was totaled. He walked away with minor injuries, but witnesses said it looked like a movie stunt gone wrong. God must hate me, he tweeted. Like, geez. I mean, that's pretty big stuff too, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's kind of odd.
Traumatic stuff, yeah.
And just 3 days later, incident number three, September 10th, 2018, he had a home invasion at gunpoint. So just days later, armed robbers broke into his former residence, asking repeatedly, where's Post Malone? He no longer lived there, but they seemed to think he did, and police described the attack as targeted and violent. So who knows what those people wanted, like, with him. They were obviously looking for him specifically. And then by mid-September, tabloids were whispering about a curse. Fans started connecting the dots. It's the box. He touched Zach. It followed him, is what people started to speculate. And Post, for his part, stayed mostly quiet, but when pressed in a radio interview about cursed objects, his tone dropped. Quote, some things you don't mess with, you know. I'll never go back, ever. And that was like the last major incident. So Post never touched the Dybbuk Box, but it didn't even matter, right?
Yeah.
And in folklore, some spirits don't care about rules. They move through intention, through invitation, or through proximity, even. And sometimes the box doesn't even need your hands. It just needs you to be open. So, so I don't know. That's it. That's all I have for the Dybbuk Box.
That's a lot, Adele. I remember this now. I had kind of forgotten about it. But I remember this eBay. And I also remember, I think I did see the special as well.
Yeah, I
Uh,
remember it going around. I remember the one box thing. I was like, are they trying to do like two girls, one cup kind of play?
very
Uh,
scary.
but yeah, that's pretty wild, huh?
Well, sorry we can't get, now that Zach has it, guys, we can't get it to you for a present.
Yeah. Well, we'll just have to take you to Vegas to go see it.
I do want to go to the museum, I'm not gonna lie. I
Yeah.
need
So I don't know. It's pretty odd. I mean, I don't know if it's a ghost or something, but there's something up with that
who
box, I
knows what
think.
it is. Yeah, I mean,
Like, ugh. Like even just like the rash and nosebleeds. It's just like nothing.
yeah, and just like the respiratory stuff, like, oh.
It's
And
very
I,
cool.
I'm still not getting over the refrigerator thing. Like, what
How
is
did
that?
Ash get in the coil? Like, I don't
Like
like
that,
that.
I don't understand that. Like, that's, I don't
Mm,
know. Mm.
bad news.
That was a great topic, Adele. Oh my gosh.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I've been waiting to cover that one, so
That's a good
glad to
one.
do it.
Yeah.
But now that we've covered that, I guess we should see what we're covering next time.
Yeah.
All right. So here we go. Do you see the
I
wheel?
see the wheel.
All right, let's spin the wheel. What will it be? What will it be? Ooh,
Oh,
you got
it's
Colt.
Colt. All right.
I'm
It's a
looking forward to that one.
yeah, right. It's like we're living in one.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
So,
Ah, Dell, that was so good. I really enjoyed that. Uh, wow.
very, very spooky box.
Very much so,
I don't
yes.
know. There's stuff, I don't know. A lot of odd stuff around that box that's kind of hard to just chalk
Oh,
up to coincidence.
very true. Very true. Well, guys, as we say here on our podcast, stay safe out there, friends.
Stay curious.
Never trust an antique box
Or Zach Bagans.
or the living.
But yeah, never trust the living.
Don't trust the living. The living are worse than the box, I'm sure.
Yeah.
There, I said it. Bye, you guys. Have a great summer.
Later, taters.